Good morning, everyone. Can I hear me? Can you hear my voice? Can you just confirm so that I can speak? Pawan, able to hear me? Can you just drop a message if you can repeat first of all? Morning, everyone. Is it good now? Is it good now? Akash, Vani. Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, let me share my screen first of all. Can you just share my screen? Can you just confirm it from your side? If you can see my screen. Thank you so much, Akash and Kazim. Thank you so much. So yesterday I have actually developed a user registration service, right? So, but probably today we will go in depth on it and we will analyze on how it is actually working behind the scenes. Okay. Yeah. But before proceeding further, do you have any questions in yesterday's session, first of all? Anyone wanted to ask any questions? Okay, no one has any questions, then I can proceed. Okay. Yesterday I will just open demo link. I think Shrikant will forward it to you guys. Okay, Shrikant, please help them. And probably you can reach out to Shrikant. Okay, he has already given his number. You can just reach out to Shrikant. Okay. It's visible for you. Okay. Okay. Anyhow, I just wanted to delete this existing project, and I just wanted to explain about the advantages of using Spring Boot technology. Since we have a lot of frameworks like Spring. Spring itself is a part of Spring Boot. Both are from the same organizations. But what exactly makes a lot of sense to use Spring Boot, first of all? Okay, I just wanted to discuss about that. But before that, I just wanted to go to the downloads and I just wanted to remove the application which we have developed yesterday. And we'll just go to this start.spring.io. what should we be good into enrolling this course? Yeah, simple core Java with good coding background. I think probably when you came into this particular class, core Java coding knowledge must be very much strong. Otherwise, you will not be able to get some things if you are going to dig deeper into developing the microservices. Okay. Yeah. So I just wanted to select a Maven project. Probably we will go with Gradle also in some time. And yesterday we have actually worked on MySQL databases. That is the actual database which we have actually used on our local system. I don't want to use any database on my local machine, but still I have to use a database which has been provided by Spring Boot. Anyone knows about embedded databases? First of all, I just wanted to explain that feature today. You heard it? Okay. Anyone? Yeah, we will be covering the test cases, Satya Prasad, because today is the last demo session and I just wanted to explain the embedded databases for everyone. And I just wanted to, define some set of properties in the application properties, and then probably we'll go with that. Yes, so, but we will understand about the advantages as well as the disadvantages and why these embedded databases are provided by Spring Boot. They have provided it for specific purpose. I will tell you that at the end. Okay. Okay, let me com dot. So today is the last demo session. We will be beginning with developing the mini project from scratch from tomorrow. So don't worry about that. So I'll be taking at most all the steps to explain you better so that you all can understand. I'll take the same registration.system and registration system. That's it. I'll just go ahead and generate it. So I will also take a separate session on how to use IntelliJ, because some people does not have any idea on IntelliJ, but probably maybe tomorrow in the beginning of the session, in the first 10 minutes, I will tell you how to import a project, right? And how to work or create a classes and all this kind of things. And also some shortcuts which are actually needed for developer in order to write or shift to some other classes directly from one page to another page. Okay. So I just wanted to extract it over here. Extract here. Go to this and I'll just open my IntelliJ. And open the project. You just have to give the POM path over here. Yeah, this is the one. So you can just select it. And probably you can trust the project and you can open it over here. But today I'm going to dig into deep how actually this configuration is going to work. And we will also see what are the disadvantages of using Spring Framework alone without Spring Boot. We'll also see those steps today. Okay. So here, I just wanted to go to this resources first of all, and I just wanted to remove this dot properties, and I just wanted to use application.yaml instead of dot properties. But I will tell you why YAML file has to be used and how it actually simplifies the people to not repeat the properties again and again. Okay. So I just wanted to give this as application.yaml. And here you go. And basically I have not added any dependencies, right? So I forgot to add over here. So I just wanted to add the dependencies. Web, JPA. Here I don't want to use MySQL, because if MySQL has to be there, local system has to also install the MySQL. So here I just wanted to use H2 database, which is an embedded database. And this database has been provided by Spring Boot only for testing environments. Okay, I will tell you how this actually reduces the cost in developing Spring Boot application and also test the Spring Boot applications in a lot of testing environments. And I also wanted to add Lombok. That's it. And I just wanted to go to this Explore and copy this parent first of all. This parent is already there inside me. So I just wanted to copy only these dependencies which are required for my project. You just go to this pom.xml. I'll just go to this dependencies. I will actually replace this with this. And probably I can refresh it so that I will get the libraries on the left-hand side. And there you go. We have got all the Spring related annotations. Okay, sure, Saksham. I'll try to explain today some things, okay? So probably I will just go and close this out. And I just wanted to create the same set of packages again, because this is the last demo session, okay? API. Service. Repository. And DTO, as well as entity. Okay, the same set of packages or classes that we have created yesterday, but there might be some new people today also. That's the reason I'm just ending the demo sessions over here. And from tomorrow, we'll start with the mini project as well. But we'll be covering all the core related things from the mini project itself. I don't want to take any separate sessions on Spring Core, something like that. But you all will understand, whoever are from Core Java, they'll probably understand what I just wanted to do with Spring. Okay. So first of all, I just wanted to create a class user registration API the same way, but today it will be different. Okay. So user registration API. I just wanted to rename this to user registration API. And I just wanted to create a user DTO. Entity. A repository. Basically, this is the interface. User registration repository. And service, user registration service, and IMPL. And create a IMPL class for this. And this has to implement the user registration service. That's it. Now let's go to this, and we'll add any new candidates in this group today. Only today came. Can you please raise your hands? Whoever is new today. Okay, I'm taking no one is there. Okay, there are two candidates, Farheen Mohammed and Pavan Ungarala. Rishikesh, K. Arvind. Okay, there are almost. Who came new today? Okay. Okay, fine. You can unraise your hands. Thank you so much. Please unraise your hands. Yeah. Probably yesterday we have taken some sessions on Spring Boot, but you don't have to worry about Spring Framework. We'll be covering that from tomorrow when we are going to start the mini project. So don't worry about Spring Framework. I will tell you from scratch how Spring Framework is actually going to work and what are all the different annotations that we can use. For now, you can just follow along. Okay. Okay. So maybe I will answer all your questions after this session. Just give me 30 minutes of time so that I can complete my application and also explain some pros and cons of the embedded databases which are provided by the Spring Boot technology. Okay, I just wanted to annotate this with @REST controller, and I need to register a user. I need to save the user to the database. So I just wanted to create void register. And here we need to take the user DTO as the input and @request body. So this is basically used to accept a JSON that we are actually passing from the front end. It can be React, Postman client, or Angular, whatever it is. Okay. So I just wanted to go to this user DTO. And here I just wanted to use the @data. This is from Lombok. This will basically generate setters, getters, equals, hash code, and the toString method. I just wanted to create a string email, private, local date, date of birth, and private, string, mobile number. I don't have to generate setters and getters because this will take care of that. So it internally generates setters and getters for our DTO class. Okay. And I will just copy these properties and paste it inside the user entity. And here I just wanted to add one more property, which is integer, which is going to act as a primary key for our database. Okay. So I just wanted to annotate this with the user DTO and the same kind of thing. So here I just wanted to generate all args constructor, no args constructor, and also builder to convert user DTO to entity and entity to DTO. So basically, those who those people who are new, I'll just unmute you after this session. You can just ask whatever the questions that you have, the newcomers today. Okay. And I just wanted to go to this user entity and I just wanted to use the same set of annotations to generate getters, setters, all arguments constructor, no argument constructor for this particular class. And I also wanted to annotate this with @entity so that all these details can be saved to the database table. And what is the database table that we can give? @table followed by the name of the table is users. Don't give user. User will not be created. For every database, user database table is already existed. We need to use users. Okay. Don't give user because user is already present in every database. And the next thing, we need to annotate this with @ID followed by @generated value to make sure that this user ID is automatically getting generated and we are not the end users to generate user ID. There is a strategy that we can use. We can just use the auto. Auto will work for every database, and there is something called identity, which will work for MySQL as well as H2 database. Only for limited databases, this identity is going to work. And auto will work for every database. Okay. And I don't want to give any column names, and let's see how the column names are generated for this automatically. So column names are optional, but this is mandatory. Okay. Now, the next thing what we need to do, I just wanted to go to this user registration API. And here, I just wanted to do a sysout. First of all, I just wanted to show some whether it is actually working or not. So here, I just wanted to give the request mapping. And here, the request mapping URL is registrations. And it's a post mapping. That's it. Got it? Fine. And I'll just go to this user repository and I just wanted to extend this with CRUD repository. And here, if you see the syntax, T comma ID. So what is T? The type of the, yes. So user entity, this is our database related entity, and the primary key type is integer. That's all we need to do, and anything, nothing else. Just go on top of this particular class, and I just wanted to add public void register, and sorry, I just wanted to use the user DTO, and then I will just go to the service MPL register, and here I'll just go to this API and we will test this out first of all. But before that, I need to give some properties in the database for the databases. So here, if you see the pom.xml, we have actually added H2 database. Yesterday, we have added MySQL. And here today we have added H2 database. So H2 database is an embedded database. Do you know what is embedded, first of all? Yeah, internally it has a database, and also internally it has a Tomcat, right? So embedded Tomcat we do have, embedded database also we do have. So we need to configure some properties to connect to the database first of all. So here I just wanted to spring dot data source dot URL. So if you just wanted to see the URL of the database, I have already said to you there is something called Hibernate JPA auto configuration. Just go to these classes, and there's something called Hibernate JPA auto configuration class. I'll tell you the advantage of this class today. I will go in depth today. So here you find data source auto configuration and data source properties. And here you have something called initialize data source builder. If you just go to this determine driver class name, here it has something related to embedded database. See here. And if you just go here, there is something called a H2. Okay. So here, if you just click on this H2, this is basically the URL. You can get the database URL from here. This is JDBC colon H2. Yesterday we have used MySQL, which is an external database. So I will just copy this, and I will go to the application.yaml, and I will give the URL as this is the URL, followed by we need to give registration as a database. And it has a username. So by default, there is a username already provided for the H2 database, which is SCA. That is the username. And the password is empty. So I just wanted to take this as empty only. And now, right now, we don't have H2 database on our local machine. I have to enable H2 database on the browser. How I can do that? So there are some set of properties. H2 console. If you see the flag over here, there is enabled. By default, the flag will be false. Okay. I need to make this as true. And one more thing, I need to use settings. Since I need to use browser-based database, I need to enable this settings, and the settings is web hello others is false. I need to make it as true. Now, simply, I just wanted to start my application. Simply start my application. Let it start. Now the Tomcat server started on port 8080. And if you can also see the logs, H2 console is available at /H2-console. Okay. Now I will just go to my web, and I will just type, this is the application URL followed by H2-console. Can you see this now? Got it? So that's the power of these properties. You don't have to worry about these properties since you are using AML file. All will be auto-populated. You have to just select those and enable that. Okay, so I just wanted, so here the username is also SA and the database is this one. And if I just go inside this, you can see that there is a user's schema which is already available. And if you see the date of birth, user underscore ID, email, mobile underscore number. So if you just see our entity, first of all, let's go to the user entity. So behind the scenes, it has actually created table users followed by this is user ID. I is capital. So whenever there is a capital letter before any word, it will just make the column name as user underscore ID inside users table. And this is basically email. And this is also date of birth. And this is also mobile underscore number. This is how it is going to generate all these column names. But it is always the best practice to give @ column names from our side, because we need to follow some strategies that this column name has to be named like this. In that case, we probably use @ column and we can give the names for that. Okay, that's the total idea. Now we have our users database table is there, and you can see this users table, which is already available in the H2 console. Now, what the next step that we need to do? I just wanted to go to this registration API. And here we do have kept request body user DTO as a parameter. Now I just wanted to stop this application first of all, and I just wanted to debug this and keep a debug point out here. And we'll submit the data. So if anyone don't know about the creation of JSON, I will tell you. So for this is a class. So for a class, we actually give open brace and closed brace. And to create a JSON for this, since we are using REST APIs, we need to give JSON data. So this is a key. We can copy this. And the same thing has been defined over here. I'll show you that now. So yesterday we have used the same thing. Okay, so here we have this JSON. So if you can select the post request. So post request is basically used to create a resource. There are some people who do not know this post get the new people. That's the reason I'm repeating all these kind of things again. But I will talk to the 7 different people who came new today by end of the session. But I just wanted to explain some things. So here I just wanted to make sure that this JSON having the property key names as this has to match with this user registration API over here with these properties. If this is matching, whatever the values that are given to this, those values will be mapped to this property key names. Got it? Now go to the user registration and we will just hit a request over here. And if you can see that, probably I have used a wrong naming convention. Registrations it is. So registrations and hit that. And probably you can see that whatever the details that I have submitted from the Postman, all those values are here. Okay. So here, what the next step we need to do, we need to insert this data into the database. For that, I will just stop this application. First of all, I'll just use the dependency private user registration service. Just auto-wire it. And go to this service. And there's an implementation class for this. Annotate this with @service so that it can create an object for this particular class. And what we can do, the next step, We'll just use this dot registration, user registration service dot register, and pass the user DTO that we are going to get over here. So let's go to this registration IPL, and I just wanted to take the private user registration repository. Auto-void. And so here we need to convert this user DTO to the user entity, because let's say if I just use this dot user registration repository dot, there are already some save methods available. If you see, what is the parameter for this save? It's entity. That means only the Java classes which are annotated with @entity. That means this class has been annotated with @entity. This entity will be saved with this particular details, whatever the details that we are going to give, right? So these details will be saved in this table, whatever the values that we are going to give for email, date of birth, and mobile number, those values will be saved in the database in this particular table users. And this user ID will be automatically generated because we have actually given this as automatic. Okay. Now what the next thing I need to do, I will just go to this and I will just click on save method, and I will just go to this. And here I am getting the user DTO. User DTO is not annotated with @entity. I cannot give user DTO as a parameter for the save. Okay. Now, because if you just see the user registration repository, what is the type that has been mentioned over here? Only I can pass user entity. I cannot pass user DTO because user entity has been annotated with @entity so that it can save the information to the database. And now I will just select user DTO first of all, and dot builder. User entity. So normally what we do, we create user entity object like this, equal to new user entity. We need to create an object first of all, and then probably user entity dot set email. Like this we can do from user DTO dot get email. This is how we actually set it and convert that DTO to entity, right? But this is not required if you have a builder, which is from Lombok. So user entity dot builder and dot email, and then probably you have something called get email, and mobile number, user DTO dot get mobile number, and dot date of birth, user DTO dot get date of birth, and probably dot build. Probably it is going to generate and convert the user DTO to user entity. And here I can just call this user entity to the save, and the details will be saved in the database, whatever the details that we are going to send from the Postman. Now I'll just stop this application. It is already stopped. I just wanted to keep a debugging point over here, and I just wanted to select debugging. Now we'll send the data. We'll send the data now. So it started. Now what we can do, we can just hit the request, and the request came over here with these values. And probably we can just proceed. You can just use this user registration service repository, and then probably we can save it. And now it is successful. It has not given any errors. Now, if you just go to this and click on this, run. So basically it will restart. So I will just select the users and I will just run it. And see here, this is the result where our records has been stored in the database. And this is the data that we have submitted. Got it? So that's the total idea. Okay. Now I just wanted to, so actually we have inserted the data into this database. And now I just wanted to stop my application first. And I just wanted to restart it again. And let's see whether we do have the record in the database or not. Let's wait for the start. Okay, it has been started. Now I'll just refresh it. And I will just go to this connect. And if you can see this, there are no records. Okay. So these embedded databases are basically from the Spring Boot, and it is embedded database. These databases can be used only for testing purposes. So we write test cases to run the test cases in different environments like QA, pre-production, UAT, and all this kind of environments. We need a database. We need to check whether the insertions are happening or not. Are we getting any issues in any of the environments while running this information on the database, right? So, but here, Spring Boot is basically allowing most of the developers or most of the organizations, hey, you don't have to maintain a database. You don't you don't want to put some cost on it. Use our embedded database for your testings, run it, test it, and restart it. It will just remove the data, whatever it has. It is just basically used for testing environments. See, what I'm saying, in real time, right now, database is running on my machine. But imagine if your database is on cloud. Do you know how much it actually costs for storing one record? $0.02. $0.02. Imagine if you are using the database for 1 month and the number of insertions you are doing or the number of fetch operations you are doing, you are actually retrieving some records from the database. It is basically going to cost you in dollars per month. That's the reason for each and every environment, we don't need a database. Only for the production environment. That means whenever application is going live, it has to maintain a database. For that database, we need to pay. And the remaining things, what we need to do, we need to do some testings on some cloud environments, right? We don't have to install a database on the cloud environment. We can just use this embedded database, which is coming along with Spring Boot. We can just use the database to perform some test cases and see whether the data is getting inserted or not. Until the application is up, we can see. But when the application is getting restarted, all the records will be lost and we will not be able to see anything. Got it? So that's the total idea. So anyone has any concerns in this? Yeah. Yes, right. Right, exactly. Okay, because see, if our application is on cloud, what will happen? We need to install database. If we are installing database, we need to pay some amount to the cloud environments like AWS, GCP, Azure. Only for protection, I just wanted to maintain a database. But for all the other environments, I just wanted to maintain a temporary database where I can see whether everything is working fine or not. That's the total idea. Naresh Yam, to answer your question, dialect is not required because Spring Boot, whenever we are going to provide the database URL, it is going to identify what type of driver it is, and also it is going to identify what type of dialect it is. Okay, let me show you the way that I'm just telling you right now. Okay. Anyone? Hi, sir. We practice these programs. Will you provide the source? Yes, I will be providing the source codes for this, but trust me, these are basically the demo sessions. I think today is the last demo session from my side. So basically from tomorrow, we'll start with a mini project. So don't worry about anything. I just wanted to, communicate with some people over here who are actually new to Spring and they don't know about Spring Boot. I just wanted to collect their names, and I just wanted to resolve some issues related to those candidates. Okay, so Naresh Yam, to answer your question, we don't have to provide dialect driver class name like we used to provide it in the Spring framework. Let's say if you are actually developing a Spring web application with database, you need to write this much of code. Let me show it to you. Yeah. So this is a Spring Hibernate integration, but basically we are using JPA. Do you know why I'm using JPA first of all? There are so many tools in the market like Hibernate, Ibatis, Derby, and all this kind of things, right? So if one of these tools is getting migrated to higher versions or some other tool came into the market, all these tools are dependent on JPA. Because all these Hibernates, Ibatis, all these frameworks are developed using JPA. So that's the reason I'm not using any Hibernate or something like that. I'm just using JPA because JPA is the core type for developing Spring Web database based applications. And if you see this over here, I just wanted to show one configuration file. You'll just imagine, see here, it has @ configuration, it has @ component scan, but have we defined this? This is automatically taken care by the @ Spring Boot application annotation. And there is something called @ enable transaction management. We have not enabled any transaction management. Spring Boot internally enables these transactions for us. And if you see here, there are so many methods defined over here. Local session factory bean, and then they are going to set the data source where actually they are providing the database URLs, username, and also the driver class name, because that is mandatory for Spring framework based applications. But if you are using Spring Boot, it helps the Spring that you don't have to configure all this kind of code, all this type of methods. You don't have to write it. You just provide me what is the database URL, username, and the password, and I will take care of the rest. That's it. This is the alternative for this particular configuration class. See how much big this is. So I just wanted you to understand, we don't have to do or write any configuration classes like this. If it is database, we need to write a configuration class like this, and we need to define the beans. But Spring Boot does not allow developers to write this much configuration class, because it basically creates session factories, data sources, transaction managers, and I will show to you in a bit. Spring Boot actually has lots and lots of auto configuration classes, and one of the auto configuration class is Hibernate auto configuration, JP auto configuration class. Here, if you can see that there are some set of annotations. If you just see here, there is some data source auto configuration. Just go to this, and there is enable configuration properties. Yesterday, we have seen this use case, how to get the properties from the YAML and set it over here. So here, if you see this properties, there is something called spring.datasource and URL, username, and the password. But I will tell you now, here, it is having a lot of code to connect to the database. This is the code which actually makes the connection to the database. Can you see this? There's a data source builder. So here, if you see this configuration, which is written in plain Spring, they have actually used a database, a data source to set this driver class name, URL, username, password. But here, it is actually getting all these properties from this application.yaml file. Okay, so what it is basically doing, if you just go to this data source properties, it is actually creating, doing class loader, and it is basically getting the driver class name. That means it is actually determining the driver class. So here, what is our data source URL? This one, right? So if you see that after JDBC, whatever the name that we are going to give, it's a database name. That means what type of database? It's a MySQL or H2 or Oracle, whatever it is. So after JDBC : this is the database name. Just go back. to this data source properties. So it is just going to determine whether we have given the driver class name or not. Right now, we have not given any driver class name. Have we given any driver class name like this? Data source dot, have we given like this property? No, right? So this method is not going to execute. Next, it is going to make driver class name as null. And we have provided the URL in the, that means in the URL, it has a database. There is something called database driver. And if you can see that Spring Boot is going to support all these databases, Derby, H2, HSQLDB, SQLite. So all these are embedded databases. Right now we have used H2. Got it? Now I just wanted to go to this MySQL. If you see this is a MySQL. And now if you see, there is a driver class name already given for MySQL. So that's the reason we don't have to give the driver class name, even if it is H2 also. It is going to determine that it is org.h2.driver. So basically how it is actually doing, it is actually going to this data source properties, and from JDBC URL, it is actually getting the, so if you see this from JDBC URL, a lot of code has been written by Spring Boot automatically. That means these are auto configuration classes, which is going to provide some code, which will actually take our application.yaml properties and connect to the database behind the scenes. And see here, it is actually saying that whether our URL is going to start with JDBC or not. Yes, our URL starts with JDBC. Now it is actually taking the substring of JDBC. That means it is basically going to select this, and probably it will get this, correct? Now, if you just go back, so here it is actually going to get the get driver class name. That means how it is actually getting the driver class name. So basically it is, applying this JDBC substring, then all this data will come. Apart from JDBC, it will come this as a string. And here it is actually using get driver class name. That means from JDBC URL, it is actually doing this split, and it is going to return the driver, which is this one, H2. Right? So this is a H2 database, but how it is actually getting it? So if you just go to this, it has got the driver class name. That means basically it is going to use this. And here there's a H2. And if you see this H2 is a enum. And basically it is going to get the driver class name from here. That's the reason in Spring Boot, we don't have to give driver class name. We can just give URL, username, password, and that's the thing. Rest of all the things, Spring Boot will execute behind the scenes. So that's the total idea. Okay. So any doubts in this, anyone? Suresh Prasad?
Yeah, I have one small doubt. Like,
Hi, Suresh.
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me?
I don't know. I'm not able to hear.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Can you speak now, Suresh?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Suresh?
Yeah,
Hear
can
your
you?
voice. No, I'm not able to hear any voice. Okay, I think probably this makes sense for everyone. Okay, so this is how it is actually doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So there is something called a Hibernate JP auto configuration class. This is not our class. This is a class which has been provided by the Spring Boot. Okay, so right now, if you are working with database configurations, it has all the auto configuration information to determine what type of database that we are going to use, what type of driver. It can import it from the enum of database driver over here. Okay, it has everything, all the databases. There are so many databases. Teradata is also a part of Spring Boot. Okay, Informax, Phoenix, test containers, and a lot of other databases also, like SQL Driver, JTDS, HANA. This is actually used for the big data, and Redshift, which is an open source. and also PostgreSQL, Oracle, MariaDB, MySQL, etc., etc., and etc. Okay, so that's the total idea. So can you just put your comment so that I can ask your so that I can tell you the answer? Yes, you can also pass input as XML, Satyaprasad. But right now we are working on REST APIs. I think we need to follow the JSON format only. I think XML is a very old way of passing the data. So if everyone is going to use the SOAP related protocols instead of REST, then probably they need to pass the XML only. Will we be doing a project in pure Java first, like employee management system first, and then include technologies like JDBC? Right, exactly, Saksham. We will do that from day one. How can we create the same project without using Spring.io? Yeah, so in this IDE also we can use the templates or plugins. If you are using Eclipse, then there is STS plugin which is already available in the Eclipse marketplace. But if you are using the STS directly, this is a Spring Tool Suite IDE. So probably you can use this IDE in order to create Spring Boot projects directly behind the scenes. There is no problem, but I will tell you how actually the things are going to work. But so here, if you just go to this STS, okay.
Srinivas sir, am I audible to you?
No, inputలేదు. Online students మాట్లాడేది inputలేదు.
Sir, am I audible to you? Online guys, am I audible to you?
Subbarao Ungarala, can you just speak now? I just wanted to see whether you can talk it or not. I am not hearing you, Srikanth. I think there is.
Okay.
Can I remove all this or?
One second. Wali. Sir, no connection on one. So students ki problem
I
is.
think Srikanth is speaking, but I'm not able to hear that.
Yeah, guys, guys, this is Srikanth. I'm your batch admin. Am I audible to you? Can you confirm in the chat box? Can you please confirm in the chat box? Okay.
One second, guys. I'm just enabling my speaker so that I can ask.
Yeah, Subbarao, I'm unmuting you. Can you please talk? Mr. Subbarao, I'm unmuting you. Can you please talk?
If I remove all these things, then only I can.
Mr. Subbarao, I've unmuted you. You can talk now.
I think we are done with the class. I just wanted to communicate with everyone so that they have a lot of questions. Okay. I'll just see whether I can talk or not.
Srinivas sir, are you able to hear me now? Guys, there is a small technical issue with Srinivas's audio speaker. So if at all it is resolved, he'll be unmuting you and he will be talking to you. And we are really sorry for this inconvenience. From tomorrow onwards, we'll be taking care of it. You can, once the class is end, you can directly talk to the sir will unmute you and you can talk to this faculty. Okay. But today, please bear with us. You have any queries? Okay. Now Srinivas sir can hear the voice. Sir will unmute you. If you have any doubts, you can raise the hand. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me, sir? Hello. Yeah, I can. It's very. The voice is very feeble. Like I barely hear you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, somewhat better.
Okay. Okay, fine.
So I had a quick question. Like, you created a Spring.io,
Mhm.
and from internet you you typed spring.io and you added all dependencies and all, right?
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
most of the organization, they won't allow to access the internet, right? So in
Yeah.
that case,
Yeah.
so how will be, they will rather, whatever
Can you see
dependency.
this now? Can you see this now?
Yeah.
This is the way. This is another way. Can you see this?
Yes, sir. I can see.
Yeah. That's the only alternative. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. In IDEs, we can actually create Springboard starter projects directly from this. And probably you can go and select the web dependency over here. And you can just add it and select it over here like this.
But
It will
this
add the-
dependency, again, it will connect to internet, right? So normally any organization, they won't allow to connect to internet.
They won't allow, but probably they have their own repositories. They will configure the IDs in such a way so that they can contact the local repository of the
because
company.
they won't allow to download from marketplace.
For that, they will add some certificates, my friend. Okay, they have some company related SSL certificates. They will try to add that in our system and configure our system in such a way so that it can contact to the local repository instead of contacting to this Maven repository.
Okay.
It will not communicate with Maven repository. It will communicate with their own company repository.
So you will create like in that case, you will create an empty project and then you will add those dependency, or how will you do that?
Are you there from the starting of the session?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah.
Yeah. So how I was actually creating the Maven projects and Springboard projects.
Yeah, I was there for when you created a Maven project. I know how to create a Maven project.
Yeah. So every company has an open connectivity to Maven repository because everyone is dependent on Maven dependencies.
Yeah.
Even
correct.
I am from EPAM systems. If you see my, this is my command prompt.
Mhm.
This is my company system. Okay. So I just wanted to open this. Can you see this here? This is a EPAM network.
Yes. Sir.
How I am actually creating projects in IntelliJ, or I'm just opening the start.spring.io, because whoever is working on Spring web-based development projects, they need to use the IO initializer, or they can use this IntelliJ IDE in order to create Spring Boot projects. Who will not allow to create or connect to the internet? Did anyone tell you about that, or how it is like?
No, I have seen. I worked, but we are not
Suresh,
allowed.
it's not that case.
So
There is no such environment anywhere where we are not allowed to create Spring Boot projects.
Okay.
You can ask. You can check with anyone if you don't know about that.
Okay. So maybe no.
That is the only question.
Yeah. So you are saying that so it will redirect to their Nexus server or whatever.
What is Nexus server? Don't come to that first of all, Suresh. Just listen to my points first of all. Don't go to the Nexus repository. It is actually the Nexus repository is private to company. Okay.
So normally they will have all the.
1 second. Do I have a company server with me? First of all, tell me first.
No, I don't.
Then I don't know what you are supposed to say. First of all, Suresh.
No, what I was asking is like when internet is not, let's say company.
Internet is required, bro. Suresh, bro.
No, internet will be there, but they won't allow to download.
Oh, okay. Which company is not allowing? I work for the MasterCard company right now. So I belong to EPAM systems. I work for MasterCard account. Okay. So MasterCard is not allowing me to develop Spring Boot applications, you are trying to say?
No, what I was saying is like if you want to add any dependency or download any dependency.
Yeah.
So will it allow to download from internet?
Yes, it will allow. But here, if you see that, if you see this pom.xml, if you see this parent, this is a parent of Spring Boot starter parent. That means this is dependency is available in the Maven central repository. But here we'll be adding one parent, which is actually pointing to our Nexus repository. Did you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understood. So instead
that's what we do. That's what we do when we are. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, understood.
But if I tell all these points, since you are working in a company, other people will be able to understand. First of all, Suresh,
No, that's
you'll
all.
get your point. Don't ask these questions, okay?
Yeah, understood. Thank you.
Nareshyam, do you wanted to speak or ask any questions?
Hi, sir.
Yeah,
Sir,
hi,
I have
Naresh.
one question, right? So, for example, you have used post mapping, right? So,
Right.
can we use instead of get mapping on it? So,
Yeah, sure, I can use it, but I will tell you some ways for it, okay? So if I just go to this post mapping and let's say there is registrations, right? We are using, I don't want to give any this thing. Okay, I just wanted to start my application again. Let the application starts. Let the application get started. Okay. Okay, now it has been started. Now, whatever the request that we are going to make in the browser, by default, every request is a get request. We cannot execute post request. Just execute this. It is actually saying method not allowed. That means it is being annotated with @post mapping. So from the browser, whatever the calls that we are going to make to the existing endpoints of our application, it will by default, it will accept only get mappings only. Okay, so if you just wanted to create some resource in the backend database, you need to use post mapping. Let's say I just wanted to use get mapping here. Okay, and I just wanted to return some sample data, return test. And I just wanted to make this a string. And now I just wanted to restart this application first of all. Let's start this application. And yeah, it has started. So let me go and execute this. It will work. So from the browser, that means from any client, that means from a browser or from any other browser can trigger any endpoint only with get request, because right now we are not sending any data from the browser. Can we send any data from the browser, Naresh? You have gone on mute.
Yeah, no, sir.
Okay, if we wanted to send the data, why we are going to send the data? First of all, if you just look into this nareshit.com, there is a login button, right? So I just wanted to register over here. So here we are actually entering all the details and we are actually submitting these details over here, right? So this is something called a post request. Why it is a post request? Because we are actually sending some data, form data. If we need to send some data like this, if you see this postman, we can send like this. Right now we don't have a UI, right? So we can use a postman client which can make post request, put request. Put request is basically used for updating the details. Let's say you have this user ID as one in the database with email and all these properties in the database. You just have to update this email. So in that particular case, you need to send the user ID also over here. And probably you can just send the user ID and change this to Srinivas. And then you need to select put. Put is basically used to update the existing resource on the database. Post is actually used to create a resource in the database, and delete is actually used to delete the particular record in the database, but we don't have to select the body over here. We can just pass the ID like this. Okay, so user ID will be deleted from the complete record will be deleted from the database. That's the total idea. Okay.
Okay. So one more question. So we are
Yes.
using embedded Tomcat server, right? So can we change that to any other server?
Yes, we can also change that. There is a configuration already given by the Spring Boot official documentation. Yeah. So here, if you can go to this embedded servlet containers. So here you have some information related to the Tomcat. So here, basically, you can just read this, okay? And probably here you can, configure the plugins also. I will just show you that plugin. See, if you just see here, replacing Tomcat with Jetty, they have actually provided some configurations, and you need to provide this dependency. And here, if you see this dependency, Spring Boot Starter Web, you need to exclude the Tomcat over here, and you need to add the dependency of the Jetty, because Tomcat is embedded, right, internally. By default, Tomcat server is there. If you just wanted to replace it with another server like Jetty, you just have to, in the dependency, there is something called the exclusion stack. You can just use the exclusion. And here in the exclusions, you can exclude n number of servers. So right now I have excluded the Tomcat server and I have actually used the Jetty server. So this is how we can actually replace the Tomcat with another servers as well. Okay.
Okay. In the replace of Jetty, we can also put WebLogic like that.
Yes, we can also, we can also keep those servers. Okay. But we need to do one thing before adding any server. We just have to exclude this Tomcat, because Tomcat by default embedded to Spring Boot container. Okay.
Okay. Only this is enough, right?
Yeah, that is enough to exclude Tomcat. Yes, that is enough.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And any other questions from anyone? And I think there is a chart. Okay, let me answer all these questions. So can we mention our mini project with payment gateway and Kafka in resume, sir? Yeah, but I will tell you the steps also, Akash, because let me show that application to you, because yesterday I have actually shown that to you, but right now I will just what's this application? Open recent projects, and there is a movie ticket booking system. It is not there. Okay. So anyhow, we are going to start with this project tomorrow. I will just wanted to explain the basic things. But we'll start everything from the basic, okay? Because there are some people who are basically from core Java and they don't know how to start with Spring. For that, I need to explain that as a part of mini project. But I will not be taking separate sessions on Spring, but definitely I will make those candidates to write a Spring framework coding. They will easily understand, because don't think that Spring Boot and Spring are same. That means Spring Framework is a framework which is being used by Spring Boot to develop Spring Framework based application. When we are using Spring Boot, don't realize that we are going to write different code. It's the same code that we are going to write. There is there is nothing different that we are going to write anything specific. Okay, let me reload this first of all. Yeah, movie ticket booking system, and just copy this and I will paste it over here. Just close this. For this window, terminate. And here, I just wanted to select the Git branches. So let me go to this. This. So here, what I just wanted to do.
Don't know why I'm not getting the Git over here. Let me go to the console terminal. Here. Git. Check out. Next. So there are some local changes. Okay. I'll also tell you about IntelliJ, how to use IntelliJ tomorrow. And global libraries, click on OK. And good. Now I'll just go to this booking service. Please don't worry. I'm just talking to Akash Hivale. So here we have actually defined the Kafka producers, the Kafka consumers, and also there is something called an infrastructure module. But don't worry, I will be writing the code from scratch. I will not be writing the code before the session. I'll be doing the live coding and I will be resolving the questions, whoever have a lot of questions on that. But probably in order to start with a mini project, you should have a solid understanding on Docker, because we'll be using this Docker Compose file to develop Docker-based containers for our applications, and we will run this on the Docker cloud, not on the local machine. Okay, so these are all the services which I have defined over here. And also, if you see this, Akash, for your understanding, we have been actually using this Kafka. So there is a listener as well as a publisher. If you just see this publisher, a lot of things over there. I just wanted to recompile this again. So this is a Kafka listener. So we have used a lot of code over here. And if you see this Stripe payment, so we have actually interacted with the payment gateway in order to submit or do a test payments. So you can also see that over here. So don't worry, you'll be getting most of the things. You don't have to worry from your side, Akash. You can just mention it in the resume, but there are some steps that we can define in the, when we define a project in our resume, we need to define roles and responsibilities also. If you just see my resume, just show a sample template of my resume. So I'll just go to the documents, and here in the documents, resumes. So this is a PDF. So if you see here, this is my resume, which has the AWS certifications also listed out, and I'm a part of interviews, and whatever the technologies that you're going to mention over here, everything has to make a lot of sense. And here, when you define a project, you have to define certain tasks that you have performed. Okay. So one of your things will be like this one. So developed event-driven microservices using Spring Boot, Cloud, and Kafka that will connect to external systems like Kafka brokers and all these kind of things. And good experience in working with Amazon Web Services like EC2, EC3, S3, RDS, and DynamoDB. And here you can also mention that if you have written any Docker Compose files, or if you have written any unit test cases using JUnito and Mockito, we'll also do this. There's something called a code quality analysis tool, for which we will be using a SonarQube. So everything you need to mention this. So Akash, you don't have to worry. I will tell you all the steps once the mini project is done from our side. Okay. So that's the promise that I can make to you. And the other things, after Akash, there are some questions from some people that in this training, which kind of projects we are going to develop. Hey, the first project will be like the Book My Show related app. It's into entertainment. And the other kind of application that we are going to do, it's a e-commerce based application into food technology like Swiggy, Manikanda. Hope you are going to get the things from my side. Suresh Prasad, if you're not allowed to download from internet, how we'll create a simple project? Okay. Yeah, you can mention it in the mini project, but not exactly like Book My Show. I will tell you the project name. Don't worry about it, Akash. So will I be able to code and learn side by side during the class, because you are going between different projects files very quickly in demo classes? These are demos. I have to go with that because otherwise it will be very much slow. But if you just start with a mini project, it will be very much slow, Sakshan. Can you use Kafka conflict? What is this, Satya? Kafka conflict in the project. What is this? I didn't heard about this. 1 second. First, let me stop sharing my screen first of all. Okay. Satya Prasad, what do you mean by Kafka conflict? Satya, I have unmuted you from my side. Satya Prasad. Satya Prasad, are you not there? Okay, fine. I'll just go to the comment section. Can you use Spring Profile is used in the project? Yeah, we need to use Spring Profiles, Satya Prasad, because we are going to write Docker Compose files and we need to write it for different environments. We'll just do that using profiles. You don't have to worry about that. Rajesh, will this course be useful for experienced employees who are poor in coding? Yes, of course, Rajesh. You can just see the mini project and decide whether you have learned something complex it or not, because if you there is already one existing batch, real-time batch. For them, I have actually taken a lot of explanation sessions on Kafka integration, because Kafka is very much complex to understand and write the coding. So you don't have to worry about that. Everything will be clarified from my side. If you're not clarified, you can just ask a lot of questions, or you can also reach out to the management that this trainer is not responding to my questions. And this is the same thing that I have actually, made a promise to the existing real-time batch. And probably they are going to get so many things, and probably they are asking me for the preparation also from their side. So that's the reason. Yes, Satya Prasad, it is Confluent. So if you just see my screen, so we are actually using the Confluent library of Kafka. So if you just see this, close all other tabs, and I will just use Kafka. So if you see this image is basically from Confluent Inc. package. Okay, fine. Any other questions from you? Thank you, Rajesh. So you'll be using Confluent only. Satya, do you have any questions? Okay. Do we have recorded videos for yesterday's session class, sir? I missed the class. Yes, Suresh, we do have the recorded videos for the existing sessions as well as the previous sessions. You can just check with Shrikant. So Shrikant is from the admin support team, so probably you can check with him. Okay, you'll get all the recorded videos. Any other questions from anyone? And if they just wanted to ask any questions theoretically, probably they can ask it over here. Anyone, please raise your hands if you have any specific questions from your side. If you just wanted to ask anything related to your interviews also, I will just take a part on it. And probably once a week we'll connect on, especially on interview questions. Anup Sharma? Yes, Anup.
Yeah, hi, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, my question is actually I'm attending interview also parallelly, and I want to join this project.
Okay.
So I just attend to interview, and basic is okay, but they are asking about project. So I
Right.
have not much content to talk to them. So currently, if you attend next interview, is there any help like PDF or something like some content?
Sure, we will give you that one as well. No, you don't have to worry about that. So, but mini project will take at least 20 days of time to implement. So once you do that, probably you will be in a good position to answer about the project.
Okay, sir, but at least related to this project, I can talk something like that. I want like that. In weekend I am attending interview like so.
This
I
weekend,
am just suffering.
you will not be
for-
able to, do good. Let's say if you have just read it theoretically, and if they ask about practical, what will happen, Anup? So
Actually,
that's
sir, I was working. I just left one company at 2 years
Mhm.
experience,
Mhm.
but they have just put in some maintenance work only.
Okay.
So I didn't learn good in that company, so I left that company. And in that one I am trying to represent, but that I internally I am only not satisfied with that. So that's why I'm attending this.
But probably you
course.
will get most of the things over here, Anup, related to some real time, because the project is very much complex. Even the mini project is very complex. You'll understand it once we
So
start. the
into
project.
it like UI also you are going to provide me.
Yeah, not for the mini project, only for the major project. Otherwise, it will take a lot of time. Okay.
But mini project you will include with a major project only, na sir?
No. Mini project is different. It's like a book my show
Okay.
where we will be integrating Kafka as well. But for the
Okay.
major project, we will be having a UI to give a clear understanding on how the actual flow goes from front end to back end and back end to front end.
Okay, sir.
And there are some middlewares that we are going to use. One is Kafka and others are related to Dockers. I will let you know once the time comes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Suresh?
Yes, I have another question.
Yeah.
So actually, you showed me like a Mockito, sir, for doing unit testing. So if you want to do some integration testing, for example, controller services, or even Kafka, right? So Spring provides some I think Springboard provides some annotations, right? So
Right.
will there be any few examples covered as part of this? That's kind
Yeah,
of.
I think testing is also a part of this complete training, right? So probably you will be writing the mock test cases as well as the integration test cases also.
Okay, I'm using all those Spring.
Yes, for integration test cases, we will not be using the real databases. We will be using the embedded databases. For that specific purpose only, they have given embedded databases with Spring Boot.
Okay, sir. I think that
Yeah.
will help. And Kafka also, they will show how to test Kafka things.
I think we will not be doing anything related to Kafka because in real time, we'll be mocking the Kafka also.
Okay, so and there is something in contract testing. Have you heard of?
Yes. Contract testing is basically done for the APIs. Okay, so but we will not be covering the contract test cases. I think that is a complex topic which cannot be understood by these people, first of all.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Suresh. Yeah. Nimesh Sen. Hi,
Hi,
Nimesh.
sir. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible, Nimesh. Tell me.
Sir, my question is, are you going to cover code coverage thing, like how we can do that?
Yes, we'll be using the Jacoco plugin in our pom.xml. While writing the test cases, we need to see how much code is actually covered from our side. So we'll be using Jacoco plugin to see the code coverage for our project.
Okay, and one more thing, sir, like after submitting our project, like in company, we need to check the status of the our story, right? So in Jenkins, so are you going to take that? Like how can we see the status of our story?
Status of our story. That means you are basically talking about Zira.
Yes.
So Zira, we will not be using it, right? It's related to company, right? So I think I will explain those things theoretically only, not practically. That is related to some Scrum Masters, right? Where they will be giving the stories and we will work on that. This is what you are asking about, Nimesh?
Actually, sir, suppose they have given me in company, they give some requirement, okay? So some small requirement, and we just need to check the deployment status and all. So how,
Now I got you.
yeah,
You heard about Prometheus Grafana?
no, sure.
So once the deployment is done, we need to check the status, whether the what kind of status the application is in, how much CPU it is being consumed, whether the application is up and running or not, or if it is having any database related issues. All these kind of things are related to monitoring and management.
Actually, sir, I was working in a company. There different kind of environment was there. So we just needed to check where is the status of that, like where is deployment, like it's kind of T1, T2, T3 like that. So I just they were checking in Jenkins.
Right. Okay. We're basically talking about, so probably once we deploy, once we are done with our application, right?
Yes.
So probably we will be deploying our application to AWS Code Pipeline. So it's an alternative to Jenkins, but also we will see that in local, how we can deploy our applications to Jenkins, not directly, but we'll be committing our code to the GitHub, and GitHub has to trigger a build in the Jenkins to see whether the status is up or not, whether the build has been successfully completed or not.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. So you need to ask about Jenkins.
Yes,
if you
sir.
have, okay.
Yes.
So probably we will be doing that for the major project animation.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So DevOps is also part of. I actually call this program as X-Stack program, where we do have UI, backend, DevOps, as well as the cloud.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay. That's it, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So if no one has any questions, probably we can wrap up the session today, and also no questions, I guess. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. And probably let me see if there are any questions from anyone. For 3+, how many projects are needed? For 3+, see, probably sometimes for 10+ years also, they will work on the same project, Akash. Since you are going on 3+ years of experience, I think one project is very much enough. And but the roles and responsibilities need to have so many kind of steps. But I will tell you once the time comes. Can you please show me how we mapped JSON, because we didn't use Jackson or JSON? That is not required for Spring Boot or Spring Framework, Gaurav. Probably tomorrow we are actually starting with the mini project. But before that, I just wanted to give a clear understanding on how Docker actually works. You don't have to worry about Jackson and all this kind of things, Gaurav. So trust me, you will get most of the things once the actual sessions are going to start from tomorrow. Okay, so these are actually demo sessions, Gaurav. So that's the end of the demo session, and this is the last demo session that is from my side. For Java sprints, other than sprint topics, knowledge required. What do you mean, Sunil? Satya Prasad, we deploy the application of these Docker images as containers into not Kubernetes. We will be using this Elastic Container Registry, which is provided by AWS. So we'll be deploying all our Docker images as containers over there. Okay, but we when we are going to use Kubernetes, it will cost me a lot of amount. So I will tell you once we are going to use AWS Cloud. Okay, even for a demo, it will charge me, but I will show that to you if time comes. I mean, knowledge of Docker, Kubernetes, Git, AWS topics, knowledge. No, you don't have to learn about it. I will be taking some 4 to 5 different sessions to make you understand on Docker, AWS Cloud as well, and little bit of Spring Framework, where the people who are basically from core Java, Sunil. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. Everything will be given from my side. So tomorrow, probably we will cover some session on Docker. So to make you understand how Docker actually is going to work behind the scenes. Okay, so that's all, and have a great day and happy learning. And probably we will connect tomorrow to work on the Docker. So we have to start with Docker, because whatever the Spring Boot applications that we are going to develop, so we will be developing the Docker images for that Spring Boot applications in order to run that application, not in the local. Instead of that, we will be running that application in the Docker cloud. So that's the total idea. Hope you got it and have a great day and happy learning. I'll meet you tomorrow all. There are some raised hands. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.